beautiful souls. So today honestly, I've been sat out in the garden for about 3 hours. I woke up early this morning to help my daughter out with a little girl. So I went and sat in the garden afterwards. A lot has been coming up in regards to, everything that's going on at the moment. They want you to get really excited because you are now uncovering things that you never expected. You've had a complete turnaround, and whether that is just in your mind at the moment, they're saying that you are on the right track. So again this morning I heard starships are meant to fly, so they want you to really reach up and be truly grateful for who you're becoming. They're saying that there's a lot of witch wounds, past memories, ancestor wounds that you've been going through to understand, to step forward, to know that you are a way shower. They're saying that years passed on, we pass on our traumas, our triggers, our everything to our children, so on and so forth, and it goes down the family line. Because this was coming up, I think yesterday, about the healing the mother line. They're saying that for many of our families back quite a long time ago, was healers. They was the ones that was either midwives, people who worked with herbs and things like that, and help people, so people didn't go to doctors and things like that. Now these family members also had times where their own family handed them in to authorities, because back in the time, if you was a witch, obviously we all know the story that witches was put to death. They was really tormented and things like that, and this is the reason that sometimes that we have that fear of stepping forward and speaking, of being who we truly are, because we have those emotions and those feelings from our ancestors gone. They're saying that when, because you've started seeing through all this, and you have been healing yourself, and you have been going through all these emotions that we didn't know was, some of them are our ancestral traumas. But they're saying that you are now coming to a place where you feel that you can speak, and you are starting to understand what's going on, and this is what they want you to know, that a lot of it is generational traumas. So when we feel that we're in fear of speaking, it's because we have that knowing, or we're starting to have that knowing, that most of it is from what came before. We know that, we get chastised, and, people laugh and, mock and ridicule the ones that are of God, the ones that are here are sent, God sent. So they really want you to understand your strength now, and where you are in a time of self-love and self-healing, that you are now, honestly, your generations of your ancestors are so grateful that you've got to this point, and that you are stepping forward and knowing that it's okay now to speak your truth, because we're in a time now where there's a lot more of us awake and understanding what's actually happening. They're saying that the colour blue, like, this is really coming up, like, the colour blue is very healing. So when you go outside on a morning, because they're saying that generally throughout the day they have been doing, obviously, the chemtrails, where you see the white lines everywhere. They're saying that first thing on the morning is where, when you look up to the sky, that's when you'll start to have more of a remembering. I've watched it this morning. I was out there from round about 6 o'clock ish, and the sky was so truly beautifully blue. It was so amazing. And then roughly around about 7 o'clock, obviously, there was a lot of planes going over, and obviously all the lines turned into clouds, so it was covering up the sky quite a lot. They're saying that the colour blue, like having blue around you, is what's going to help, like trigger memories, trigger your remembering of why you're here. Like I said, I've been staring up at the sky all morning with my notebook, and it's so truly beautiful. It's like watching just speckles of just true beauty, like little diamonds, it looks like. And then obviously the more I was sat out there and the clouds started to come over, it really dismantles that. It's where it's got to where I could barely see the speckles anymore, because like I said, the clouds that formed helped me to not see the blue sky anymore. The same right now, everything that you truly believe is what's coming in. Like I said, the speaking of your truth, and whatever that truth is to you, it's even if you're not speaking it as in speaking it to others, you're in your mind, your thoughts, you started to be more aware of what you're thinking about. So that is now where you are starting to get a better understanding of where you're actually at. And they're saying that it's okay to think and to speak your truth now, to recognise that this has been your patterning, because we all have the patterning. It took me a long time, and I still find that I catch myself thinking of a lot of things that have gone. In these times where you are having past triggers coming up, they're saying that there's something in each time that you've gone through, let's just say parts of your life, that these parts have helped you get to be the person that you are today, and they really want to highlight that, because you have grown throughout each instance that's happened in your life. You have started to understand why you was the way that you was, that it was old patternings of other people, other people's insecurities, other people's traumas, that we build our life on what we know. So a lot of what we've been has been through things that we've learned along the way. They're saying that you're starting to see the patternings now of things, but they're also saying that when these are coming up, they want you to see the strength that you gain throughout each situation, and this is coming up so much this week. There's a new energy that's coming in. Like I was shown this weekend that we've been waiting for the second coming of Christ. What I was shown and what I've been hearing all weekend has been that it's Christ consciousness. There's a massive wave of us all coming back to conscious self. The teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Christ, of all, and like I say, you start to see that, a lot of the reason that we don't speak our truth is because we're so worried about what others are going to think. But there's so many of us now that are coming to Christ conscious, that we are to see, this is another thing I was shown, that we are to be like Jesus, because we're all God's children. And I say Mother, Father God, because the left and right side of our brain is masculine and feminine. One without the other, there is no creation. And I was shown that massively. I was also shown, like I said, the second coming of Christ is the Christ consciousness. It's us all waking up to the reality of who we need to become, or who we are becoming. There's a lot more of people now that are starting to wake up and see the truth, see what's going on, but there's also a lot of people that are not. And this is the balance, you see. Because if we didn't know the darkness, if we didn't know, the things that are wrong in life, we wouldn't know to make things right. So it's about, the left side is the things that we have to go through to be able to go to the right side to make it right. But if we didn't know the things that we do know now, we would still always be on the same journey of not changing anything. So I'm showing that, we have to go through dark times to know the light times. And God always knew that whatever challenges that we went through, we would always go to our knees and pray. We would always come back to God. But again, there's a balance. We have to know dark to know light, so that it's not being something that we've been punished with. It's been something that we've grown so much to come to know what we know today. I was also shown, like I say, you know who you are now. You know on a deep level of who you're becoming, of who you're meant to be. So here in where I am, there's been a fuel crisis. There's always one thing or another. It's either a fuel crisis, food crisis. There's always something. They're showing me that what they showed me was, like, there's a lot of people's, like, the people who control each country, they all sit round a big table. And to me, it's not a metaphor, because what they showed me was they all sit round a big table, they all decide our fate. They all decide what they're going to come up with next to keep us trapped in fear. So, say for instance, they'll say, well, let's just cause a fuel crisis and have everybody panic buying, have everybody trapped in this fear of not knowing what's going to happen. They're all wanting people to be scared that there's going to be no food. But once we understand this, because I was also shown a while back a Monopoly table, and we are all underneath the Monopoly table. So what I was shown was we were all on our hands and knees, and the Monopoly table was on our backs. And I was shown that, all the leaders were all stood around this table playing the Monopoly game. Possessions of things. And I was shown that when we all stand up and we all understand what they're doing, and we don't allow fear to control our emotions, and we know that it's going to be okay, so we don't all go panic buying, we don't all go doing this, that we know and we're prepared that they can't rule us anymore. So once we all stand up, the Monopoly table falls, and they don't have that control anymore, that we have the control. I was also shown, I think it's the Bee movie, I was shown this where I think it's crickets. I remember watching it with my younger children, and it was showing that all these bees are going and collecting all this food for the crickets, I think they were. There was something like that. I know it was quite big, but there was about maybe 4 or 5 of them, and there was millions of these bees, and they were all collecting all this food, but there wasn't enough for them, because they was giving it all to these crickets. And something happened, and I don't think they got enough food, and the crickets were angry, and one of the bees was like, well, let's all stand together, sort of thing. This is, if I'm remembering this right. And it obviously caused all the other bees then to be like, hang on a minute, why are we doing this and leaving ourselves with nothing and giving it all to them? So they all joined together and they all stood up to the crickets, and the crickets got scared. And they knew, I think there was a line in it, something along the lines of, they know that, you know, there's nothing that we can do to control these bees anymore because enough of them stood up. This is what I'm being shown, that once we understand what they're doing and we take our control back, and I'm shown it's not even like going and fighting them or anything like that, it's just about the knowing. It's all about taking back the control of fear, because they feed off our emotions, they control us through our emotions. That when enough of us say enough's enough, and we start to see the patterning of the fear, that our frequencies start to rise and theirs drops. So I'm being shown now that the Christ consciousness is all about us now coming to an understanding that there is enough of us now to change that frequency, that our energies on earth now is rising so much that, you know, we're all becoming a collective of conscious thought. Like, I've been really shown this, that we are standing together now, we're all coming together now, we're all knowing that we can speak our truth, that we can, as a whole, come together and change the way that things have been. So I'm going to cleanse the energy because that was a lot coming through. But we are healing now, we are coming together, we are uniting in knowing that we're all healing one another, and knowing that what's coming is greater than what's been. And our ancestors are so grateful that we have come to this understanding now, that we are learning to cleanse ourselves, we are learning to understand the patterning now of everything that was before. And now it's a conscious, like, renewal of who we're becoming. So they really wanted me to put that across, because each one of us are going through different circumstances in our lives. So, you know, certain things that are spoken are not necessarily exactly how I'm putting it across, but they're saying that each one of us have our own inner standing of why things have had to have been the way that they've been. So, you know, they really wanted me to show you that, you know, what you believe is absolute truth. They really wanted me to emphasise that this morning. So let's see what comes through, see what other messages that they have. Because like I say, I was showing that Monopoly table, and once we all stand up and understand who we truly are, yeah. So in my deck, I have about 1,000 cards, and this has been coming up quite a lot because these are cards that, you know, that I've made myself. Well, I say that I've made myself, but I was given instruction to what to write on my cards, and they're showing me that this is a clean slate. This is a renewal of what's to come, that you are now rewriting your story, your beliefs, your values, your boundaries, knowing who you are, knowing what's been is now, you know, all in your hands now, that you can change everything. Right, okay, so you're seeing these numbers, you'll know that this is for you if you're seeing these numbers: 222, 2222, 2233, 1111, 1555, 333. They're wanting you to know to get excited now, because you're rewriting your story. You are now coming in alignment. The reason that you're seeing these numbers So they're saying that when these numbers come up, if you go onto Google and Google put in the numbers that you're seeing the most frequent, they are going to give you guidance to show you where you're at and maybe what's your most dominant thoughts and what's coming up that you need to see. So they really want you to see that. You made a conscious change your ancestors have been praying for. They are cheering you on. Yeah, see, this is what I was getting outside, that they're really grateful that you are not trapped in that fear, or you're coming out of being trapped in fears, because it's been, like I say, it's been patternings that we've learned, or that we've had passed down to us. Something has just clicked for you. You're seeing it now. Why everything happened this way. Planets are aligning for you. Get ready. So yeah, because they want you to get excited, and they're saying that, like I say, everything's starting to click for you now. You are now seeing what's actually going on. You're feeling the shift in your life. You woke up different today. You're going to cry tears of joy very soon. Your reality is about to shift in the most amazing way. You're about to see why you're the chosen one. Moana, remember who you are. She was the way shower. They say this is you and your destiny. Because again, this is in the film. This was my daughter's favourite film when it first came out. You know, remember who you are. You know, and I see that it was, if I remember rightly, she had Heart of Defeaty, I think it was called, and she went to the island where the Heart of Defeaty was stolen from, and it was an island of a woman laid out, and all the island was grey, and she started to sing to the island to know who you are, and the woman woke up, and you know, it's because, like I said, it was like the storm, and she like got up and she was given the Heart of Defeaty back, and she turned all beautiful. Flowers started to grow, the grass started to grow, everything started to be so beautiful again. And also, if I remember rightly, Moana was a girl that lived on an island with all her family, and it was shown that it was passed through each generation of, you know, the family members. I believe it was a mum and dad, and obviously their mum and dad previously, they would go place a rock on these mountain of rocks of all the ancestors that had been passed down, and something had happened. I can't really remember the film, but they're showing me that there was an accident that happened, and you know, they was all scared to go into the water. They was all scared to go on their boats. You know, they wasn't allowed so far. So it was passed down through a generation of fear of not wanting to go out. And what had happened were the fish had stopped producing. The coconuts was black. They was all starting to get to a point where they couldn't live just off the island anymore. And Moana was a little girl who grew up always wanting to go into the water. She was always, you know, being led to the water, but she was always told to come back away because of the fear of what had gone before. But she decided that she was going to go off and save their island, because her grandma was, you know, inspiring her. She was the one that was coaxing her to come off the island, to move away, to, you know, to help the family. And Moana went off, and she went on a boat, and she travelled, and you know, she met a god, and he also was scared. He'd lost all ability. Even he too was scared of doing things, but she then inspired him, he inspired her. They worked together, and they took the Heart of Defeated back to the island, and the island then woke up again, and she saved all their family. And at the end of the film, they was all going back out on their ships again. She broke that cycle of the curse of the family of not wanting to go out onto the boats. So this again is about you healing the ancestor wounds. This is about you coming to a knowing that you can do what you believe that you should be doing. This is about you now going beyond what your fear is telling you to do. They're showing me that, like I said, fear is an illusion. It's something that we've gained along the way. And because of how society is in most places, most people, that we're scared to speak our truth. We're scared to come out of our cave and be who we truly are. But by doing that is what's going to show others that it's also okay to come out and be who you're meant to be. So that, because there's quite a few here that fell out and they wanted me to take all of these. So be patient with yourself, all in divine timing. Your connection to self is growing. Yeah, so like I said, because you have spiritual gifts. What emotion did you feel more strongly today? Whichever emotion that's been coming up more frequently has been the one where you're going to find, like I was shown, it's like you go on an Easter hunt and you found the magical egg, but it can be so frustrating when you don't know, because I've been watching my little boy this weekend, and when he doesn't find an egg and somebody else finds an egg, he's like, and he feels like he's left behind. But what they're showing me, each situation that you come to, your old thought patterning and things that have gone before, we lose hope and we forget about the eggs that, well, it's not eggs, sorry, but we forget that each one of our happenings that have happened to us, because I'll say that because we've all gone through so many different things, so many things that broke us. But in each of those situations I'm being shown is where you have found a gift in each of those moments. There has been something that has helped you grow in each one of those emotions. At the time it didn't feel that way, because at the time it felt like it destroyed us, that we, it crumbled us. Something happened where we still always trapped in those old patternings. But they're showing showing me is like a sparkly Easter egg that's in each one of those situations, that the reason that they're coming up, the most that you feel the most strongly about, is where you're going to find a gift that you received in each one of those moments. So when we go back to each of those moments, because I know I've had a lot of them where something that really destroyed me in the past, I've revisited a lot of those things over the years, and I've seen that in each one of those I gained some form of strength. That's where I found myself, and now moving forward I can see why each situation happened in my life to propel me forward now, to know that if I've got through that, you can literally get through anything. There's nothing that can stop you now, because you've gone through literally everything, but you've still come out here now wanting to learn, wanting to know the truth, wanting to be who you're meant to be. What are your boundaries? What are you willing to stand by? No. What are you willing to stand by? Then set them free. Because this is now where they're saying that, you are, certain things are happening where certain things keep coming up and triggering, but these are for you to set boundaries now. Where do you believe that, say for instance, somebody speaking to you, how do you think that could be changed? Could you put a boundary there and say, I don't, I'm that hurts, that upsets me, I don't like it when you do that. And if they continue to keep doing that, then they've crossed your boundary. So they should not, if they don't understand when you repeat it again, then that's you being shown that they're not meant to be in your life, and what can you learn from that person and move away from. They're saying it's time now to set boundaries, values and beliefs. What do you value about yourself? Yeah, what do you value about yourself? What can you put in place now where you now know your value? You know your worth. You know that you are who you are. And that does not need validation from anyone else. That needs validation from you. You know, what do you believe that you are? That who you are? That is so important at the moment, because it's not about others believing who you are. It's about you knowing. It's a knowing now that it's okay for some on your journey to not understand who you are, but it's up to you to understand who you are. You came here with a purpose, and the more that you know who you are and you accept yourself for who you are, others will start to accept you along the way too. And the ones that don't, again, that's a boundary. You know, you can choose who you speak to, you can choose now who you spend your time with. They're saying that you have spent enough time now where you have been around others that have made you feel small, that have not valued you, or have not understood your beliefs. But that is for you to really be in that knowing of who you are, what you value, your worth, your time is so important. So this, you know, what do you stand by? You have everything your heart desires in your hands. You have everything you need coming towards you. Let your emotions run free. Yeah, because it's about setting everything free now. It's about you going with the flow now of who you truly are, and not doubting yourself anymore, because you've been shown enough that there is no coincidences. You have been shown time and time again that, you know, you are now listening to your intuition. You are now following the guidance that you've been receiving, because you know that there is no coincidences, because you've gone through so many incidences now, whether it be you speak about somebody and then all of a sudden they appear, they message you or something, or you're thinking about a certain subject and it's shown to you. They're saying you're on that frequency now of absolute knowing, or you are going to be on that frequency of absolute knowing, that everything that you're shown is for you to now help and guide others that are willing to be on that journey to, you know, to receive what it says, what comes through. You are now on that frequency of inner standing, that you are the oracle, because this is what's coming through. They want you to really understand that you are here to set your ancestors free by speaking your truth. You have been probably in a time where you have been isolating, you have kept yourself away because it's been easier. But they're saying now that's again something that happened to protect you. That a lot of people have fallen off your path. That again was also to protect you. If you'd have had certain people still in your frequency, you wouldn't have evolved to the place where you are today. Your child or children are a way shower. Listen to all they say, they bring wisdom. So again, this is the Moana, a way shower. They're saying that, you know, you and your children or your children to come are very gifted, and listening to them when they speak, you will hear a lot of wisdom. They want you to maybe go back to childlike self, because when we get to certain ages, we've got to be grown up, we've got to be this, we've got to be that. And they're showing me that play, you know, like just playing. What is it that you felt that you needed as a child, that you searched for others to show you, but you never found? So you kept yourself away, you kept yourself protected. You was able to read rooms as a child, because, so I know myself, children was seen and not heard. So I kind of knew that even if something bad was happening, I learned to keep quiet about it, because we wasn't listened to. So we grew an identity of, to not speak up, because no one's really going to listen to us anyway. So we always felt that the information that we had was not going to be heard, so we kept quiet about it. Or you've also found that there's been people along your journey that also don't understand you, maybe telling you that you're too loud, maybe you're too much, you're too this. So you kind of didn't have a childhood in a way that you see most children having being childlike. The saying, by you playing, you're doing something for yourself, you comforting yourself now, you're telling yourself that it's okay. You're giving yourself love. Go back and visit that time. What would you say to yourself as a grown-up now? What would you say to yourself? To go back and revisit that and tell yourself that you're worthy. Tell yourself that you matter. Tell yourself that you're loved. And that's going to heal something hugely inside. That you are going to be able to come out and be childlike, be truly beautifully yourself. Because the only reason that you was told all this is to stop you being who you are today. We're born into certain families to change the family line, but we're not. The other energies, is the only way I can explain it, are to stop us from becoming who we're meant to be, to remember God, to come back to self, to know that we were made within the image of God, so therefore we can choose to know that if we're made within the image of God, therefore God is within me. God is in everything. God is in everyone. It's about knowing that you are truly beautiful inside, that you are living experiences, that to come back to God, to come back to self, to come back to your higher state of knowing that it's all going to be okay. Give it to God. Speak to self each day. Whatever that truth is for yourself, by doing that, is going to connect you so strongly that you know that you can overcome anything. Because this is what I'm being shown, is that when you truly, truly accept who you are, and you have a knowing of self, then that's where everything opens up for you. Your children, or your childlike self, there is so much information in there that once you revisit this with an open heart, without judgment, and with pure love, with the intention to heal what's been, to know that you're one with God, to know that God is in all, in everything, that's where you're going to start to heal. Now you've had people around you that have been stressed out. You've had people that are, or have been, plotting and planning, and you've been feeling this, you've been knowing this. These people are going to start seeing who you truly are. They really want me to emphasise that you keep moving forward despite what others have said, despite what's gone. By you propelling forward, and in your knowing of self, of knowing who you are, that your connection to God, that you're one with God, the Christ consciousness is coming back. And that's what I was shown, because I was like, is Christ coming back? Is, what's going to happen? And I was shown that it was going to get to a point where it was really bad for people to have to wake up. You know, we're all God's children. Therefore, you know, the story is to be kind, to be humble, to learn that not everyone on your journey is going to have your back, but to keep moving forward in the judgments, in the criticisms, in the hurt, the betrayals. This is where you awaken your Christ consciousness, come back to one with self. By you doing so, you're going to find your people. But what I am being shown is that not everybody on your journey is going to be on that frequency. And the reason that you've gone through all these emotions, all these heartaches, all these betrayals is to show you now, to give you the gift of discernment. You can now, like I say, as a child, they're showing me that again, as a child you learned to read the room. As we got older, we just wanted everyone to love us, everyone to understand us, everyone to, you know, to get us. But what I'm showing is this is for you now to understand that it was for you to understand you. You was the one that was needing to understand you, to love you, to care for you, to truly inspire you. You are the centre of the universe. That's why it's called universe, because you are the centre of your universe. You are living your story from old past beliefs, old past forms, all past everything. I'm being shown that this present moment is a gift. That's why it's called present. The now, the being in the here and the now. Reminding yourself that it's okay for what's past, and loving yourself for the strength that you found along the way, and that you still, and you've had your moments. Show me you've had your moments, but you've come back to self. All you want to do is love, be kind, caring. You know, you take your shirt off your back and give it to anyone. But you've never had that reciprocated. But what they want me to show you is that you are to do that for you too. You cannot give from an empty cup. Your consciousness is now starting to awaken, where you now feel that you can give to self now. But by giving to self, you're then receiving. So once you can understand to receive as well as to give, that's when you find the balance. Because, you know, we'll do anything for anyone else, but then when someone does it, oh no, it's okay, you know, oh, you didn't have to do that, but no, Spirit's showing me that. Now it's to a time where, thank you, I am truly grateful. You know, it's my pleasure to help, and I am grateful to receive. So this is about now where you're coming into the present moment of the gift of receiving. And when you fully feel that receiving without there being, it's okay, you know, once you start to feel that the receiving of self-love, of self-knowing, of self-worth, that's when everything's going to start to make more sense, and you're going to start receiving more of what it is that you now need on your journey. I hope I haven't gone on too much, but that was really coming through. Yeah, because you're being honoured now by our ancestral line. You're protected and supported. You know, this is now where you now receive what you're birthing. And you see here, it's showing me you're coming into a time of creation. You're birthing anew. Or maybe some of you are, you know, with child. Maybe some of you are around somebody who's just been with child. You're starting to see things from a completely different point of view. They want you to get excited now because, you know, because I know that if you're listening to this video and you've got this far, this is most definitely for yourself, and you know this, you have an inner knowing, an inner standing of what's to come. You know that you're starting to feel excited because something is going to be coming in, and they're saying, because this is you now birthing new ideas. This is you becoming one with self. This is you understanding now that you, soul recognition, collaboration, partnership, friendships. So this is you now, and even if this is with self for now, this is you partnering up with yourself, your self-knowing, your self-belief, your self-worth. Again, this is all about now you coming into alignment with, the balance. This is now you starting to see that you are creating something so beautiful. A second chance, new possibilities. So this is you now coming into your, I don't know why I've got some cards in here. Yeah, the great gathering, it's all coming together. The vibration is rising. You're the oracle. Your guidance is divinely guided. So this is now where you come into your inner standing, knowing that you're partnering up with others. This is the great gathering of all souls coming together, knowing their self-worth, knowing why you're here. And even if you don't know why you're here, it's going to start to become clear as you're caring for self. You're now, for the receiving of the love that you're giving to self, is now what's raising your frequency now to align with others that are also on that same frequency. And it's not going to be a battle anymore. There's always going to be things that is going to come up, but what they're showing me is that you're going to have an inner standing now, and you're going to move away from things that are not in your alignment anymore. That you are going to use your discernment now of who you can help and who you need to allow them to help themselves, because you wouldn't have come on this journey if you wouldn't have had to self-help yourself, if you wouldn't have had to be in those dark states by yourself, to really pull yourself out of those dark times, to know who you truly are and the strength that you've received along the way by not giving up. And they're saying that there's some people that generally have to go through that, but you're going to know the ones that you can send healing to, because you are a healer. So you're going to send healing to the ones that need the healing, but the ones that are healing are going to find themselves being attracted to you, the frequency of you. You're going to be in alignment with those who are meant to be on your journey. So the saying held, sureness of the soil, unseen help, support and community. Yeah, because this is, you have been in the soil, you have been planted. You're a seed that was planted into the darkness of the soil. You have grown roots and you've been held and you've been supported. But at the times we wasn't feeling like we was being held. We was in the cocoon. A caterpillar goes into the cocoon and goes into the metamorphosis of completely destroying itself or being destroyed. Because it's a choice, because they're showing me it's a choice. The caterpillar has to make that decision to literally go into the cocoon, and it's showing me like bubbling up, and then obviously it comes out as the true beautiful butterfly. They're saying that this has been you. You was planted into the soil and you have got yourself up, and the strength, the roots that you grew, you are seriously strong now. They're showing me strong roots, that you have become strong. You have gained so much wisdom along the way through all the times that was just so hard for yourself. Because this keeps coming up. They really want you to know that, because I know I've said this a lot in the reads, but they're saying that you truly have had to go through so many things for you to see your true light, for you to see how truly powerful and beautiful that you are, because you know you became one with God. You gave it to God. You cried out, I can't do this anymore. There's got to be another way. Or I will gladly keep going on this journey, but I have to be shown why. You know, it's the questioning, it's the wanting the knowledge as to why you grew strong with God. Creating heaven on earth. It's happening. Because you are creating heaven on earth now, your vibration is raised so high. You know, and even on the days that you're feeling, you know, at your worst, you found something really positive within that. To raise that frequency, to, you know, you now know that it's okay now. You can give yourself that self-love. You can inspire others throughout your journey through sharing who you are. You are now knowing that you're going through the second bloom now, and this second bloom is, you know, your consciousness awakening to why you're here. Because yeah, you're creating heaven on earth. You really are creating heaven on earth. Ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. You're coming out of the cave, look. Can you see? You've gone through all these times to come out truly beautifully who you're meant to be. I'm going to say beautifully then. Because again, like I say, you know, you can now see that the sky is blue. You know, you are seeing the positive now in all. You're starting to see that even if there is darkness there, that there's something that you can learn within that darkness, because that's where you gained your strength. That's when you learned to fly. That's when you learned to be embraced. Knowing that you was being held, because to me, that's showing like God holding you while you're birthing, becoming who you was meant to be. Like I say, you come out of the cave now, you're starting to see, you know, that you now know why most things have had to happen, and you're still going to be on your healing journey. They're showing you that there's always something to be healed. But you are now at that point now of birthing. You are praying, you are knowing that you are energy, that you are one with Source, that you are gaining your strength each day as the days are going. You are learning who you are. My hands are so cold because I've been outside all morning, so I'm struggling with these. Right, sure, is there anything else that needs to be shown through this? Like I say, you are breaking the ancestral patterns now, and they're so proud of you. They are truly proud of who you are, who or what is triggering you. So this is about reflection now. This is about you truly understanding who you are. This is about you now when the old self is coming up, because this is what I was saying earlier, that the old self is coming up for you to see who you are. You are truly mirroring. You are starting to truly mirror to others. And the ones who are meant to see will see how truly beautiful that you are, but you are going to be triggering others. You are going to be showing them that they have things that they need to work on and heal. And some are going to be afraid of that, and some are not going to understand that. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So this, like I said, this is where some people will, you know, they will be attracted to your light because they truly feel inspired by who you are, but then being in that inspiration then also shows them what they have to work on, and a lot of people are not ready to work on that. Yeah, it's about allowing others to go through that process now and allowing them to move away from you when you know that these triggers are coming up, because that's in those moments is where they're going to sit with their self and understand why they're going through the emotions and why they're going through why, you know, because eventually when they've treated you so poorly, when they go away with self, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but in time to come they're going to be I wish I'd have been there, I wish I'd have, you know, kept that friend, kept that family member, and then they're going to have to go through their emotions like you've had to do along the way. They're then going to have to come to their inner standing of who they truly are and why they had to come here. So I want me to clear this, because every time I start coming to an important message I have to go do something and sort something out. So I'm just clearing this energy. Like I said, they just want you to now use your discernment and see who, who you can help and who you need to allow to help themselves. And it's okay. It is okay. Because now you've been shown that much now that you can lovingly allow others to be on their journey, because as you've had to be as well is where you've come out to become and be who you truly are today. So I want to cleanse all that now. Let's see what spirit wants to come through. Okay. So let's get one from here and see what needs to come out. Does my life have room for more pleasure and play? Yeah, because this is what I was saying. They want you to play now. They want you to come out of your shell. What is it that makes you happy? How can you truly inspire yourself and love yourself today in a way that you maybe haven't been able to do in the past? Is this something that you've been wanting to do? In what area are you lacking pleasure right now? Maybe in certain relationships or with work. It is possible to shift the seriousness of life to experiencing a more creative, wild and playful side of you. What would happen if you added more play and laughter into your life? What area is lacking this right now? Take time to play. Let go of any need to produce anything. So this is now, like I said, this is about you now coming to self, knowing what it is that you truly desire. What makes you laugh? What makes you laugh? What makes you want to play? What is it that you've been maybe wanting to do that you, like I say, I've been wanting to do for so long, but you've always felt, oh, well, I can't do that because it's, whatever the reason has been that you've not done because you were grown up now and you think, oh, well, I can't do that. They want you to really get in the mode of playing right now, in laughter. Even if that's putting on, because I don't really emphasise on watching TV and things like that, but what's your favourite comedy that really makes you laugh out loud? What is it that you could do that just, really, really cheers you up? Because that's in those moments, that's when you feel alive. Because you've done so much work that you are ready to have that play now. You are ready to come out of your cave. You are ready now to feel the love for self. Remember who you are. Make today your new beginning. Try to leave any past mistakes in the past. Don't allow them to weigh you down any longer. Move forward today with the confidence and knowing that you have better and brighter days ahead. If you are noticing changes within you, it's because you are leaving the old version of yourself behind. You are elevating and shedding unnecessary layers, old cycles and endings. And new beginnings are on the horizon. You deserve this new chapter. Let go of old and make way for new. You may find yourself being distracted by random thoughts, fears or doubts. Don't allow yourself to be governed by them. Simply observe and choose to take aligned actions and choices. It says slow down and take your time. There is no need to rush everything. You are already doing your part. Trust that what belongs in your life is already making its way towards you in divine timing. Yeah, because this is what it was saying here. Alignment, prosperity, transformation, get excited. Like I said, seeing the numbers 222, 2222, 22, 33, 11, 11, 1555, 133, 1234. They just wanted me to add then, because you are stepping up now, you are on the perfect timeline now, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Go back to the heart of who you truly are. There you will find peace. Look at your life in its entirety. Acknowledge any old wounds and then release them. Use what they taught you as added strength. Keep moving forward with a new sense of confidence, because this is now where they're saying everything that's gone was always going to be, but what you received in those moments, like I say, at the time you didn't, you wasn't receiving because you was in pain, you was in anguish, you was in hurt, you was in betrayal, whatever the scenario was being for yourself, but you have gained so many strengths along the way with each challenge and circumstance that came up in your life that was set to destroy you, but you didn't get destroyed. You are here now wanting to birth a new creation. You are now seeing yourself, with fresh eyes. You are now seeing yourself in who you truly are in your entirety. You are now knowing your worth, your value, what you bring, and you don't need anyone to validate that for you now. Because, like I mentioned again, you are one with God. Speak to yourself kindly now. Look at yourself kindly. You are perfectly who you're meant to be. So we've got wisdom. Wisdom is your heritage. Seek knowledge and preserve it. So again, this is your heritage. This is what's been passed down through generation after generation to you. This is about you now. Like I said, you're coming out now knowing what you've learned and what you've always known, but you had to go through certain circumstances. You had to see yourself for who you truly was, for you to understand what you know. This has been you, like I said, this has been you being the roots, because this is again now connect with your roots, ancestral wisdom guide you. So like I was saying, the emphasis on the plant, the seed getting planted and the roots growing really strong. This has been you gaining all your strength to be able to move forward and bring your ancestral gifts forward. They was persecuted back then because the world wasn't ready to know the truth. The world wasn't, not even the world, sorry, the people who govern the world was not ready for everybody to speak the truth, because they wouldn't have been able to do what they've done for their pleasure, for their gain. For them it's all been about, what they could have and treat us all like little worker bees. This is where you now stand up and you speak your truth, and whatever that truth is to you, because you connected with your roots, ancestral wisdom guide you. So again, ancestral wisdom guide you, and wisdom coming through. Of all the cards in the deck, these two came out together. This is about you now truly knowing who you are. You've been truly rooted in knowing and discovering now that your discernment is so strong. You have got through all these challenges, and majority of you have got through these by yourself. You have truly grown roots that are so strong that they can hold up a village now. You are now going through your second bloom. You're creating heaven on earth. Surrender of the soil. You've got unseen help, support, and a community is going to be given. Being true. I am true to myself and others. I remove my mask and stop creating illusions. I have confidence in who I am, and I reveal the good in me. I do not need to hide or prove anything. I replace shame with power of love and truth. And then we have courage. I am stronger than fear and bigger than doubt. I am light and I remain light. I trust in God and stand tall before the tests of life. I grow and become wiser through every challenge. I am being of a new life. So this is courage and being true. So this is about you knowing, you absolutely knowing who you are, and having the courage now, which you have been doing, to really stand in your truth and who you are. This is about you now truly knowing your worth, knowing that everything you bring to the table is going to the right people. You are going to see why everything happened the way that it happened. Patience. Now is the time to learn, study and gather information. Enjoy being a student, because in the future you will synthesize your knowledge into action. So this is all now on your journey of self-discovery, of self-knowing, of self-worth. As you honour and follow the guidance of your hearts, prosperity is coming to you now. And we said about the witch, you know, this is the knowledge, this is you now truly standing in who you are, and because you're standing in who you are, prosperity is coming to you now. Can I have one more, please? Thank you. Schooling, studying and education help your life's purpose and personal growth at this time. The angels will guide you and help you with this process. So they're going to be showing you who you truly are. You are really going to study yourself. You are studying yourself. You are really going through the motions now of going back and learning everything that you needed to learn within each moment, to really truly study yourself and learn the strength that you've gained along the way, the wisdom that you've gained, the knowledge that you've received and that you've been receiving. This is now where all this that you've been learning is now going to come into play. You are now going to trust the process, trust the guidance, know your worth, know your values, set boundaries, and truly root yourself now in the wisdom that you are being shown. This is now, honestly, this is just so beautiful. You've broken the chain. You're being held. Your ancestors are so proud of you. They truly are. They're really rooting for you, and they want to leave the love with you. You know, you are more than you believe that you are, and you are now starting to discover this. You're starting to learn this. Your inner self is the true beauty. You know, you have come a long way, and everything is going to start working in your favour. You truly are beautiful, and I'm grateful if you got this far. I hope that, you know, we can connect again. I am truly grateful for those who have followed, subscribed, who have commented. It means so much to me, hand on heart, truly. I feel you, and I'm sending out love, and I wish you a wonderful day.